everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of 90's Horror Films. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
Madeline Deering. How's it
Matt,
going?
Madeline Deering, and I watched Shakma. Well, separately, not together, but you watched it last night.
I
And
did. I had to finish it today. I was too wiped out to finish it, but
oh, well,
either
I,
way.
I I did not have that option because I did it late. I had a really busy day today, and I thought I was going to do it in the morning, and then the morning got away from me, and I was like, I'll just do it when I was done all the chores I had to do.
Yeah.
That took until like 7 o'clock. Then I had to eat dinner, and then I had to rush up here as quickly as I could and watch it as best. So when you were like, I'm going to be a little late, I was like, perfect.
And I'm always late anyway,
I
so
know, I kind of thought about that too. I was like, Maddie's gonna be a little late anyway. So,
yeah.
if this starts late, that's fine. Um, but Shakma was a movie that I had not heard of until Red Letter Media had done it a while back, and I forgot about it. And then I was watching their Red Letter Media trivia thing, and they were talking about Shakma. And I was like, I mean, they just mentioned it or whatever. And I was like, what is that? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's a 90's horror film. So it kind of fits with the 90's horror film theme. And
Definitely.
yeah. And so I picked it out, not having seen it, thinking, I don't whatever. And then tell me, what are your thoughts?
I thought this movie was super fun. Well,
Yeah.
first off, I love creature features and killer animal movies. So, Killer Baboon kind of won me over. I mean, in general. And I like movies that take place in one central location. And I think I said in my post it was like a hospital, but I don't think it was. It was more like a school or
It
whatever,
was a
I think.
school, but like it had labs and other
Exactly.
stuff. Like it
So
was a
it fits
lab.
that kind of. But I like movies that take place in one location and stuff like
Mm.
that. So I had a lot of the themes of like stuff that I enjoy, and that baboon was fucking awesome. Also, the same one I heard from The Fly and some other movies, which I didn't
Yep.
realize, which I'm sure
Yeah.
you know about. You do
I
more
just saw
research
I
on this.
saw people's comments and stuff, so I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I did not know that the baboon that played Shakma had been in The Fly and other things. But
yeah,
good God, he had quite a, you know,
career.
quite a career there. Yeah, he had a better career than I have. Freaking, freaking baboon. Um, but but I could tell why. He was wonderful. He was probably the best part of the whole movie.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but it gave me man's best friend vibes where
Oh, yeah,
I just wanted it to die, you know, like or Cujo, all these um horror movies where the animals are attacking and you just feel sorry for the animal in a way. Like I get it, like he's killing humans, so like that's terrible, and everything. But I mean, first of all, he was about to die, which I felt terrible in the beginning. Like I was like, oh,
yeah,
you're gonna kill poor Shakma. And then he went on a like pretty savage, you know, hunt and everything for all these people and stuff. And I was like, you know what? He should have died earlier. Like we would have known that he was well, he was aggressive, to begin with.
yeah.
And I guess Sam, played by Chris Atkins, who I thought was great, Christopher Atkins, wonderful in this movie actually. Which shocked me. I was very, very shocked. Because he's been in a few, let's not say so stellar movies, like,
I can't think of what he's been in. He looked familiar, but I didn't look up his
well,
filmography.
he was in, well, first of all, he got famous because he was the boy in the Brooke Shields Lagoon movie, the Blue Lagoon, movie,
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
And so he was famous for that. And that was his first like start, and he didn't apparently, I read, he didn't even want to be an actor. He just kind of fell into it and whatnot. Man, I get so freaking mad when I hear that, you know, because there's so many awesome people who would love to be where they're at. And some of these people
Exactly.
like Johnny Depp didn't want to be an actor and he just
I didn't
kind of
know that about Johnny Depp.
Oh no, I don't think he wanted to be an actor. I mean, he might have thought like that'd be cool, but he was like I think he was like a musician when he first started. Like he wasn't thinking about being an actor.
Yeah.
Jason Lee was a skateboarder, who just happened to, whatever. Like, the guy who played Randall in Clerks, he definitely did not want to be an actor. He still doesn't want to be an actor. He keeps getting thrown back into these things. So, once you're talented, people will find you, or you'll find it, and whatnot. But yeah, so um that's the funny thing about these kind of crazy, you know, animal movies and these crazy horror films where the actors just, you know, and Chris Atkins is perfect for it. He's
Oh yeah.
very, very fun and he's nice. And it was funny that Red Letter Media episode that they had Shakma on also had another Chris Atkins movie, and it was called Beaks. You ever heard that movie?
Oh, I've never seen that. I've always wanted to,
It's on
but I'm
Tubi. I
watching
just
it.
found out today. So
Yeah.
I want to do it at some point, like review it. Might review it for a new idea show that I want to do. That's really about really silly horror films, or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but yeah, that's a really silly it's, and you like killer animals, and that's a killer
I
bird.
do. So it's up my alley.
All right. Um, Killer pigeons, apparently.
Yeah.
Like that's what? All right. All right. I'm down for that. I haven't seen it either, so I've been kind of dying to check it out at some point. But to go back to Shakma, um, so you first watched it, you had never heard of it, and you
I've
were
heard of it, I think, but not in a while. Like I wouldn't have thought about it, but like seeing like the cover and everything, I was like, oh, I think when you might have mentioned it, I didn't, but when I saw the cover, I definitely heard of it before, but obviously forgot about it.
I'm glad I didn't watch the trailer before watching the movie because it did ruin a few scenes and stuff. And
That's
I
why I
hate
never
it.
watch trailers anymore. Very rarely.
I know, like I'm so mad these days because like I'll go to the theater and I'll be like early or whatever, and I'll be like, oh man, there's these trailers here, like, and most of them actually show the whole movie in some way or another.
Mhm.
I'm like all the twists and turns, the stuff that you are actually going to see. The only ones who don't do it are the M. Night Shyamalan movies because they can't, like I
Show
think
some mystery.
legally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean but like I use this as an example on another podcast, but you know,
Oh yeah.
Abigail had the twists in the trailer. And I'm like, there's so many ways you could have done this
Made it
without,
look like completely different.
yeah, without making,
Added mystery.
I'm not even gonna say it. Just because if somebody's listening to this and never seen Abigail or hasn't seen the trailer, then good. Go
I
watch it
never saw
on.
the trailer before I saw the movie. The only reason anything was spoiled because of Facebook. Not that a bunch was spoiled, but still. But
That's
never
even
saw a trailer for it somehow.
That's like that scene in freaking Simpsons where they have a flashback of them in the 70s when they're coming out of Star Wars, or the Empire Strikes Back, so it must be 1980. And Homer and Marge is coming out of the theater and he goes, I can't believe that Luke was or that Darth Vader was Luke's father. And everybody's like in line waiting to go in, and they're like, you jerk, we're here. Like,
Yeah.
thanks for ruining it, right? And I
I'm always
actually,
afraid of that happening.
I'm afraid of that happening at the theater. Yeah, you know,
Because one time I was in the bathroom and it was before I saw the new Ghostbusters and I heard people talking about it. I was like, oh shit, you know.
uh, you gotta
But
close
they
your
didn't really
ears.
spoil anything, but I was like afraid they were going to.
Yeah, you gotta close your ears or something. You know,
Exactly.
you don't want to know if like one of the characters is back and you didn't know. You know,
Exactly. So, but
that's the
yeah.
that's the fun part of the stuff. I did like feel like a jerk because I mean, even though no, I don't think anybody was really around. I came out of Nosferatu kind of talking about it with my friend, and stuff. Sort of the fun part about going to a movie with somebody. is
Oh, for
talking
sure.
about it right after or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Nosferatu, which is a freaking good movie. But so Shakma, I guess we'll start from the beginning. So Shakma begins where a bunch of students, are kind of just doing their class stuff, like in their lab, you know. And one of the students, I think his name was Richard. Was that the guy's name?
I don't remember anyone's
Um,
name, to be honest.
so
I'm
Richard,
terrible with names.
I think it was Richard, wanted to join the group. He was the,
Yep.
I guess they called him, they named him Richard because he's a dick, you know.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So anyway, he wants to join the group. He's kind of the, I don't know, pretty boy. He's
Yeah.
not a jock, but he's like the popular guy kind of thing,
Yeah.
The guy, everybody else around him is nerds and like, like 100%. And he's the only one who sort of doesn't fit in with that group, which is kind of the opposite of what normally happens in horror films. So I like that. Like usually it's the nerd that's the outcast and everybody else is the cool
Exactly.
people.
It's a nice little twist on it.
Well, usually because you want to kill all the popular people because they're
Yeah.
jerks, So so this movie is get different because all the people that die you actually like. I was like going through it going, what the? And there will be spoilers in this show. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Because, yeah, there will be spoilers. And can't help that, you know. But yeah, so uh they're talking to one of the guys, the richer guy or whatever, wants to join their group. And the he wants to join it so that he could basically kiss ass to the professor, um,
Exactly.
and everything. That's right. That's it. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wants to kiss ass to the professor, and the professor says basically this is because he wants to join a Dungeons and Dragons game. What? You know?
Yeah, that was interesting.
By the way, I don't think they were doing it right.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I
I
really
think
didn't even realize that's what they were doing till someone told me.
no, well that's what I think they might have mentioned it. Did they mention it?
I didn't
You're
think they did, but they may have, and I might have,
You
went
know
over
if
my
they
head.
did, they probably did it because I bet that's trademarked and
Yeah,
stuff.
so,
That they were
but I
just
guess whatever game they were playing is like, I don't know,
like
Dungeons and
Dungeons
Dragons.
and Dragons. It's supposed to be like Dungeons and Dragons if it's not. Um, so he goes, the professor said this is Sam's game, so you gotta ask him. So the dude goes to ask Sam, but doesn't ask Sam. He's sly. He kind of tells him that the boss, that this professor, kind of suggested that he played, which I thought was a pretty smooth move, right? You know what I mean? It was a lie, to get him to
Nice
get to
way to
play the
wiggle
game.
your way in there.
Yeah. And so he was like, all right, but all the roles are already filled, so I guess you're gonna have to be this goddess character, basically.
Yeah,
They all
which
kind of poke fun of him and stuff, which once again does not happen in these movies. Like the nerds don't ever laugh at the jock guy. It's always the exact opposite. Like the jock guy's always like nerd, you know, and
exactly.
you know, everything. So I thought that was funny. And it's kind of cute. Um the two girls that want to play it, one is played by the beautiful Amanda Weiss, who I've always had a crush
Yeah.
on since Nightmare on Elm Street and whatnot. And
Yeah, it was great seeing her in this.
yeah, she was wonderful. And then the other girl, I am not familiar with her, but I did
I'm not
look
either.
her up and she had been in stuff, you know. Let me look this up real quick. Um hmm. All right, so the first one is Christopher Atkins, and that's Sam. Amanda Weiss plays Tracy. Ari Myers is her name, and she was in stuff like her big claim to fame was she was in a show called Kate and Allie, um, about two divorced mothers and their children who share an apartment. Is it a sitcom? Yeah, sitcom. You
It
ever heard
sounds
of
good.
that?
No, I've never heard of it.
It stars Susan St. James and Jane Curtin.
Oh wow.
Jane Curtin was in a sitcom. Um, but Ari Myers played a character named Emma, and yeah. So she was also on the show Evening Shade. I don't know if you remember that show. It was like Burt
Nope.
Reynolds' show that was back in the day.
Oh, okay. No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, it was pretty funny from what I remember. Um, oh, she was in the movie Dutch. I like that movie. I don't
I've
know if you ever
never
saw it.
seen it, but I'm familiar with it. I've never actually seen it.
You never saw it. Okay,
No.
so she was in 2 episodes of Evening Shade. She wasn't in a lot. But she was in 100 episodes of Kate and Alley, so she had
A
uh,
big role
a
there.
big role, yeah. Compared. I'm not looking. Look, she hasn't really been in too much other stuff. I mean, her last role was for a TV show called Stanley. It was a cartoon, so I don't
Hmm.
know. Then Roddy McDowell plays Sorensen, the professor, and it was really nice to see him.
Yeah. I'm a
I
fan.
haven't. What was the movie that I? Well, Fright Night obviously is the big one. Um,
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Yeah, all the Planet of the Apes movies playing Caesar. He was in Cleopatra. I did not realize that. That's awesome.
Never seen it.
Oh man, I had to watch it for like school years ago, but I always thought it was kind of cool looking. Like they had these big elaborate sets, and I've heard so many horror stories about the making of that movie.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I've heard a little bit, but again, I can imagine.
Uh, so Roddy McDowell was in that stuff. But I always remember him from I think it was class of 1999. If I'm correct, seeing that,
Can't
or am I
remember.
just
I know I've
making?
watched it, but
Yep, class of 1984.
okay, yeah, I've seen that
Yeah,
one too.
yeah, I watched all of them, including the class of 1999 part two, the
So
substitute,
have
which I
I.
love.
They're all pretty fun.
That was the most ridiculous one of them all, and I love Sasha Mitchell, so I'll watch anything with him. He's like my favorite martial artist.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme." I'm like, "It's Cody
Nope.
from Step by Step. He's the best." You know. I mean, I grew up in the '90s. Like that was my. I miss the '90s, honestly. Like that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do the show. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
and to bring
I grew up
back.
I was born in '88, so
So yeah,
I
you
would
grew
say
up in the '90s. You
'90s.
were a childhood in the night. You had a childhood
Yeah,
in the '90s, and
we
you
watched
know,
TGIF, Step by Step, and Family Matters and all that stuff.
yeah, but you kind of came in the late TGIF times, I mean, you probably watch reruns of the shows or whatever, but really, I mean, you were probably watching it in, 86, 7, maybe something like that in that time frame. And that was not 80, 96,
I
97.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
what are you
80s.
talking about?
You weren't even alive then. But
Yeah, no,
96, 96 and 97. So about the time period that what is it? It was not it started to get bad. And it was funny because as I got older, you know, I started getting less and less interested in TGIF, and
yeah, that's
and
because
I
it got
started
bad.
realizing how bad it was getting too. So, because I mean, shows can only be so funny for so long. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how South Park still lasts, but that's probably one of the few exceptions. That and what's the other one? Um, Simpsons, which I still haven't watched in forever, but I still think it's
I
hilarious.
haven't seen
Um,
any of the new ones.
it's on Disney Plus. That's like that
Still
just
going
does.
strong.
Yep, I forgot like 40 something seasons or something, maybe
Yeah, that
close to
sounds
that.
about right. Started in the '80s.
Yeah, late '80s though.
I think like 88, 89, 89.
So it's approaching 40 seasons, I would imagine. I can look that up in 2 seconds and find out. Uh, woof, yeah, 36 seasons, and that was in 2024. So 36 seasons so far.
That's
Woof. Well, Saturday Night Live just is celebrating 50, if you can
that's
believe
crazy
that.
as well.
Uh, considering considering that show has had ups, downs, lefts, rights. I mean, this year I don't know what they did, but they got some of the best writers or something because they were actually doing good enough for me to want to watch.
Well, that's
Um,
good.
yeah,
I've only watched skits here and there. I never watched full episodes.
yeah, kind of with me too. Like because it gets boring after a while,
Yeah.
But plus I don't stay up late that
No,
late.
me
Well,
neither.
I mean I do, but I don't not for television, you
Yeah.
know. So I'll just catch it when it comes on YouTube, like the clips and stuff. Alrighty. Um, all right. So next, after Roddy McDowell, we've got on the cast Rob Edward Morris played Gary. He was the black friend who
Yes.
I liked a lot.
Yeah.
He cracked me up. He was funny. Um, So then, yeah, uh, he was in Aquarius as, oh man, that sucks. He was Thug in lineup. Oof, it's a long way from Shakma.
Yeah.
Um, he was on that show Super Force, which I think was created or something by the people who made this. So
Huh.
produced by what? You ever heard
I
of
didn't
it?
know. No, I never heard of it.
It sounds awesome. It said in the year 2020, because this will happen in the year 2020 or
Yeah, that already
have
sounds it.
happened, you know. But this was in from 1990. This is what they thought 2020 was. In the year 2020, an astronaut becomes a vigilante when he returns from a mission to learn his cop brother's been murdered.
That sounds wonderful.
Doesn't it? See, this once again, this is why I love the fucking 90s and
Yeah.
80s. They came up with the most silly, off the wall shit that you will not see in in Hollywood anymore. Hollywood's too scared to put Super Force on there, or something like
Oh yeah.
that, you know. But I would watch that. I kind of do want to watch it. I looked it up on YouTube and sadly only like episode 5 and 6 or something are in it. So he's also an episode of Swamp Thing, episode of Superboy. Oh man, he really did a lot of TV. He did a movie
Yeah.
called China Moon. I've heard of that. It says,
Sounds
oh,
familiar.
is it a horror film? Looks kind of. It says crime. Okay, it's crime thriller. Detective Kyle Bodine falls for Rachel Monroe, who is trapped in a violent marriage. After shooting her husband, Kyle reluctantly agrees to help hide the body, but Kyle's partner is showing an unusual flair for finding clues. Ed Harris, Madeline Stowe, Charles Dance, Patricia Healy, Benicio del Toro.
Oh wow.
No, pretty good cast right there. Pruitt Taylor Vance, I like him. All right. Kind of want to see that now. Is that on wonder if that's on Tubi. It looks like it is on Tubi.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you Okay, I have a question for you. You're a big B movie lover. Have
Yes.
you heard of this thing called Fossum?
Yeah.
Have you checked it
It's a
out?
lot like Tubi. Yeah. I watched Mummy Shark on there and Cat Nato and I'm sure we few
Oh,
other.
Donald Farmer and his
Yeah.
silly, silly movies. You know,
Yeah, Fossum's really great. The ads are kind of annoying only because I feel like Tubi places ads in better spots than Fossum does. It feels like Fossum will be like they're in the middle of a sentence and it'll go to an ad. I'm like, can't you just space them out a little better? I don't mind ads, don't get me wrong, but just space it at maybe a better time. I don't know, but that's the only thing that kind of bothers me. But Fossum's nice; they have a good selection and everything.
I agree with you on Tubi, except for today. Today it seemed like they uh it almost I was so scared because like the first 11 minutes came on and then it went to commercial and I'm like, "Oh God, is it going to be like every 10 minutes that we're going to see a commercial? Because this is going to take me forever, you know?" But the first commercials were like two of them. So that was it.
Yeah,
So I was like, "All right, so if it's like that every 10 minutes, eh, this is why I like YouTube because you can just skip the ads, you know?
yeah,
If they had a thing for that, like skipping the ads, I think I would like it more. But then at the end it just you know, it was I it started like it was like 11 minutes and then it was like 20 something minutes and I was in and I was like, "Oh my God, it is going to be every 10 minutes. I'm scared now." And then it took another like it felt like another 15 minutes, which is generally what it takes. They take about 15 minutes and then they find
yeah,
a good spot, like maybe they're going to the next scene or something, skipping to a scene or whatever, but I don't know who does it because obviously it's not somebody placing them there. It's like an AI, you
yeah. I was
know?
gonna say it's just random. It seems.
Yeah. So maybe they have a better AI generator for ads, and stuff. So I get it because you don't want to be with them having like a mid sentence and then
No,
all of a sudden go to commercial. You're like, what? Ah,
yeah, it's
what?
annoying.
Yeah. What did they just say? But yeah, I just heard of well, no, I think I've heard of Fossum, but like I thought that it was one of those where you had to actually pay and everything,
Yeah,
pay
no,
subscription, but it's a free one like Tubi and Plex and um what's the other one?
like Pluto and
Pluto. Pluto TV. I like Pluto and I like Plex because of they have the you can watch live TV there too,
yeah,
so it makes you feel like you're watching satellite or
cable.
something. Yeah,
Yeah,
cable. But
I'm with you there. I like to just put on game shows on
oh
Pluto
my
or whatever sometimes.
God, yes, like I used to before my mom passed away, and in fact up to my mom passing away, we would watch together when I was taking care of her. She'd have me come in the morning at 11 o'clock in the morning. I would go in her room before I would go out for like lunch or whatever. I would go to her room and watch
Price is
uh
Right.
The Price is Right. You got it.
I know
And
that was 11. I always used to watch that with my grandpa, and I still watch that sometimes.
I know I want to still watch it sometimes. I just 11 o'clock. I'm just too busy in the mornings to getting
Yeah,
ready for
yeah,
the day or whatever. I don't even think about it. But I would think about it when I knew that. And then my great nephew loved to watch it with us because it was so colorful, you
yeah.
know.
I
So
understand that.
well, so anyway, it was really nice little moments like that that I'll hopefully always treasure. So every time I watch that, I'll think of her. In fact, the other day I was thinking about her because, the music was loud. And I was like, oh man, is she gonna come in my nope, not anymore. Sadly. Um Trey Laughlin is Bradley. Which one was Bradley? Was he the guy with the that's the guy with the glasses, right?
I think.
Okay. And then Richard. Okay, so Bradley was Trey Laughlin, and this was his only movie. Greg Flowers was Richard, and this was his only movie until he was an associate producer for a movie called Some Things. There's Some Things Which Can't Be Figured Out, and it's a short film.
Huh.
Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, Matthew Galvin. That name sounds familiar. I think maybe it's just the last name. Um, and Greg Peroff directed. Both of those guys directed it, so maybe they're friends. They're probably friends of the actor Greg Flowers, and because they gave him associate producer and a special thanks. you know, credit.
Yeah.
So, but those are the only things he had done. Um, and then Laura, who was um Richard's girlfriend, who was waiting
Yep.
in the car. She was played by Kimberly, and it's spelled Kymberlie, which is an interesting way to say Kimberly. She was also in the show Superforce. So I feel
Oh,
like this was a show that brought back a lot of the Shakma people, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
That's
which is
funny.
cool.
Yeah. She was in one episode of that. Was she in the same episode as the other guy? Was this like a, oh my God, yes.
Of
Wait,
course.
no, it's a different actor. Fuck. Okay,
Oh
I
no.
thought it was. Oh yeah, but I think that's nice. I actually like that better. That there's different episodes with different people from Shakma. So if you're a huge
Yeah,
Shakma
yeah.
fan, you can watch all the different episodes
I
and say,
know
"Oh,
that.
I know that person. She was in Shakma." But she was also in a movie called "Somebody Has to Shoot the Picture." Never heard of that.
Me neither.
Um, says a small-time drug dealer has been sentenced to death for shooting death of a policeman. What? Wait. Oh, for the shooting death. Okay, I thought it said shooting the death of a policeman, like a picture. I was like, why would you
Uh-huh.
be sentenced to death for that? Shooting a policeman, some states would put you, to the death
Yeah.
penalty. After 7 years of appeals are exhausted, the date of his execution arrives. His last request is that his execution be photographed. Eames selects Paul Marish, a jaded Pulitzer Prize winning photographer who is convinced by his agent to visit the small town in Georgia. Sensing a big story, Marish's agent sends in a reporter from Time magazine. Good God, this feels like too much information. And together they begin to investigate the events surrounding the murder in a small town where emotions are high and opinions are fixed. So it's a drama. Okay.
Interesting.
It felt more like it was gonna be like a thriller. She played a clerk in that, and she was also in the Line of Duty, the FBI murders, starring Ronnie Cox, Bruce Greenwood, Michael Gross, David Soul, Doug Sheehan, Richard Jenkins. Good God, what a great Becky Ann Baker from freaking Freaks and Geeks. Awesome. Used to love that show. I don't know if you ever watched it or not, but I used to
No,
love it.
I've always meant to check it out though. I've always heard good things, but I haven't watched it.
And the
I need to.
la- Yep. And the last one was Donna Jarrett playing Brenda. Was Brenda like one of the random people that was she the girl that was in it like for like maybe 2 seconds? Like she
It
wasn't.
must have been because I can't remember.
Yeah. Um, and she was also in another movie in 1990 called The Night. The Night Brings Charlie.
Oh yeah, I watched that
You've seen that
years.
movie?
Yeah, it's
That's
not
a
great.
1990 horror film, so maybe it'll be on our list at some point.
Should be. It's been a
Only an
long
hour
time.
and 15 minutes though. I wonder where you can find it because it doesn't say it doesn't even
I
say.
remember my friend in film school had it on VHS when we watched it. I think it's one of those hard to find.
I did send you a link. Did you see that link of the
I
whole
saw the link,
the
but
YouTube?
I had such
So
a busy day. I never
I
checked it out. I was like,
it's
I'll do it
okay,
tomorrow.
but yeah, do it whenever you can. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But it does have like a lot of 90's horror films that are not on Tubi and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
That are harder to find movies, which I love sites like the pages like that where they just put up movies that just aren't available right now.
Oh, yeah, me too. You can find some gems.
I don't like it when they put up ones that can be streamed because
Well, yeah, me
then
neither.
it's
But
copyright.
the forgotten ones that, are nice.
Yep. Um, let's see. What's next? So that was it for the cast. The director of Shakma was actually two directors. Did you notice that in the credits?
I somehow missed that.
Okay, so in the credits it said co-directed by this one guy, and I was like, is co-directed by Tom Logan, and I was like, why would they say co-director without saying
Yeah.
co-directed by both people, right? Well, I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh, I guess then the other director must also have a different title as well, not just that one title, right? So he is also the producer, which is Hugh Parks. Now, Hugh Parks, that was his production company that put this movie out and everything. Um, he had done a movie called that he co-directed with John T. D. Patterson called Deadly Innocence. You know, he was also in a movie called he directed a movie called Dream Trap. That sounds awesome.
It sounds interesting.
It says the boisterous comedy set against the backdrop of college life proves that every fantasy has a catch. Isn't that
Ooh.
zapped? You know, like,
Yeah, yeah.
sounds like Zap to me. Then in 1990 as well, he did Shakma, and then he directed a movie called King's Ransom, starring Miles O'Keefe, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Christopher Atkins again, and anyone else I know? No. Also co-directed by Tom Logan, so they must have been really good friends. And stuff like co-directing partners or something. Because that guy Tom Logan had directed a bunch of movies and stuff. One of them looks like a documentary on SpaceX. Um,
Huh.
so it's a newer thing. Um, he's done a lot of stuff, but a lot of them looks like made for TV stuff, you know, but not like the. So he did The Night Brings Charlie. He did that. So
Oh,
he was,
wow. I didn't realize that.
yeah, he had done Dream Trap, Shakma. What?
It makes sense.
Yeah, The Night Brings Charlie. He ended up doing King's Ransom. Then he did stuff like 3 episodes of the Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. Something called Smooth Operator. It says naive medical interns. You like medical stuff.
Yeah.
Learn how to operate in the hospital and how to operate on the streets as well. What?
Ooh.
What does that even
Operate
mean?
on the street sounds like some underground shit.
I don't think that's what they mean. I think it means like I I think they mean knowing how to talk to because it's called smooth operator. So
Yeah.
you think that that's maybe like a comedy, like a college comedy, Porky's type thing.
I think
Uh,
it'd be funny if they were operating on people on the streets and they're like van or something. Like, come to my van, I'll, give you, do some dental work or, heart transplant.
I love John Mulaney says like there's this guy that if you go to him in his house, he will prescribe you anxiety medication.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to go to his house and you got to hear him talk about whatever in his house. It's weird. The rest of the stuff just seems strange. Like how to act and eat at the same time. That's
interesting.
the business of landing a professional acting job. Okay. Young citizen patriots, young kid ambassadors. He's done these. So these are like, those like really crappy videos where you know, like I don't know, instructional videos,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
to videos, basically. This is that, like camping buddies. It's an hour long. Two backwoods amigos enter a contest to win a hillbilly bus, and hilarity ensues. What? What is this?
I don't know if I want to know.
Ray Stevens, Tom Lester, Victoria Jackson is in this movie. What? Why?
A must watch.
Must not. I don't know. It's an hour long. That's it.
Well, that's a plus.
That is the plus for this kind of crap. Um, I don't know. Sorry, Tom. I don't know what. He's also famous for doing a movie called Escape from Cuba. I don't know any of the actors in this. Do I? No. No, none of them.
None of the Shakma actors, I guess.
None of them, no. Um, I had weird. I don't know this. Yeah. Now I'm like looking at this, going, what in the world is going on here? It's going down a weird rabbit hole, man.
Those
Um,
are fun to go down.
so
Sometimes I can spend hours on IMDb like, what?
yeah,
I just weird shit.
that's I'm gonna be honest, that's where I get my fun ideas for like episodes to do. Like, I'll because like I used to do this like just for fun. I would go down and I'd look at Corey Haim's page and I'd be like, what's
Yeah.
this movie? What's this movie? Is this movie available? Like today I just bought Werewolf in a Woman's Prison.
Dormitory?
No, the prison. There's
Oh,
a
Werewolf in a Woman's Prison.
yeah. And
I've never
just
seen it, but I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, and Paul keeps saying it's on the list. And Eric Spudic is in it, so it's like 15 bucks, 14 something bucks. Why not buy it?
Yeah, that's
On DVD. It's not, it'll be fun. Um, and I looked at it. It had on the back cover. It said it had commentary, so it's not just a bare bones DVD. So for 14 bucks, so you're getting something for it. Um,
no.
All right. So that's it of all the main people. The writer of it, Mark Engel or something like that, had only done this. This is his only movie. Um, I wonder why. Like because this wasn't a terribly written movie. It's just
No,
sort of the problem I had with it was sort of formulaic. You know, there were no
it's like
real.
a slasher movie with a baboon.
Yeah, yeah. He was slashing. Yeah, most of the time, and he was pretty bad. Like as pretty badass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love that
Did a
monkey,
great job.
that baboon.
Yeah,
They said he's like one of the
A
most
plus actor. Still the
aggressive
show.
primates other than man.
Yeah,
That was the joke in the movie or something, and I was like,
yeah.
or whatever.
Jumping around everywhere, snarling like holy shit. I'd be afraid of that.
Oh, it was kicking. I mean, it was doing
Yeah,
flips
I
and
mean it was.
shit.
Yeah,
Like I was
to
like,
do that animal training for him. I mean that's actually really impressive.
it was like a ninja baboon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That scene when the guy's like in the elevator and everything
Oh
was
yeah.
a
Well,
yeah,
my only problem with that was, and they did it specifically so that she would hear the thing instead of, but I would have loved to see that thing just jump right into the thing with them.
yeah. That's kind of what I was hoping for, but
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed by that. I was disappointed that we only heard like him get attacked and then you see him still fighting the thing. I think was Gary or whatever was still wow
yeah.
fighting, and but he did not survive. No, sadly. And once again, these are some of my favorite characters in these films, and none of them, none of them except for Christopher Atkins survives. And also, I mean, he survived, but did he survive? Because that like traumatized his shit
He
and stuff.
said, "I won."
Yeah, I thought somebody
And
said
it's like
game
staring at a
over.
teddy bear or some shit. I was like, "What?"
Oh, you won the game.
Yeah,
He was the winner. He's the last man standing. You know, but
he
like,
won.
what kind of price? You know,
Oh, yeah.
very nasty, deadly one. Um, I I don't know. I like some of the deaths. My favorite was my least favorite person to die, or like one person I didn't want to die, which was the main girl,
Yeah.
which died. She died early.
I know. I was surprised by that.
She had like 40. They had 40 minutes of the movie left, and I was like, she can't be dead. Nope, she was dead, and I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea,
Oh yeah, it
because
throws you for a loop because you don't expect it.
yeah, you think she's gonna live, you know, but nope, she died pretty quickly. I was sad about that. I liked
Yeah.
her. I liked her. I I thought there was gonna be something weird going on between that one girl. and him, and the main
They
guy.
make it seem that way.
And I feel like there was maybe something more, you know, that they just maybe
Yeah.
cut out, or they just took out at some point and then just didn't like fix it where, because like there's something she's talking to herself at one point and she's like talking about Sam or whatever, and it sounded like she like liked him or something,
I
you
thought
know.
she did. And
And so
it's totally possible they could have cut some stuff out. I mean, this movie ran an hour 41 minutes, which is already kind of long for this type of movie. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they had extra scenes like that. They were like, oh, we got to cut this down.
well, I'm kind of worried because yeah, it's an hour and 41 minutes that we saw. Red Letter Media saw the 90-minute version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's like 11 minutes that they didn't even see. So they might be even more confused than we are,
That's
or whatever.
interesting.
They chose the shorter version, which I think is kind of the stupider thing to do. Stupider, sorry, that's not really even a word,
More
but
stupid.
more stupid. Because the my thing with that is if you want to review a movie, you should watch the longest version of
Yeah.
it, you know.
Well, not always. I will never watch the 2.5 hour cut of Boarding House ever again. It almost ruined the movie for me. So it's not always the best
That
option.
that's true. I won't watch the 3 hour, 4 hour, whatever long Zack Snyder cut of something, Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You should have made that your first cut, or whatever.
Lord of the Rings, I'll watch the shortest version now because I'll still fucking fall asleep.
You know what? Somebody should make a director's cut that's shorter than the movie. Everybody always makes the longer cut.
But that's
Make a
how it
shorter
is a
cut.
lot, I think. Like a lot of extended cuts of movies, unrated cuts, I think were versions that they just added a couple minutes on to say, oh, unrated. But the director's cut, I think, was oftentimes like the shorter version. And usually it depends. Sometimes it's better, sometimes you want that extra stuff. It really depends on the movie.
It depends. Like the bootleg cut of Empire Records is awful. Sometimes the Mallrats. Kevin Smith has said his films aren't like his films are the director's cut. Whatever goes out is the
Yeah,
director's cut for him. Anything else is just like an extended cut or something
yeah, I
else,
think that happens a lot.
just to give people more stuff or whatever. Um I love the TV cuts of movies, you know.
It's fun to
Um
watch different cuts.
I wonder if this ever played anywhere, like on TV, like
It
Showtime
looks
or
like a made-for-TV movie almost.
yeah, it
It
does
seems like
kind
it
of.
could have been.
Yeah. Maybe that's why this guy was good at making those later. Like the
Yeah,
co-director was good at making those later. He was just like, I learned from Shakma, you know. But it was pretty bloody, so I don't think
yeah,
this
yeah.
played
It
on
had
a
a little
lot.
more blood than I was actually expecting, which is nice.
Well, it's good. That scene right there, ah, and back behind me, I love that. Like that shot of him just,
Yeah,
and her just terrified. I'm like, that's a great shot. Um, I I did love who did the cinematography. I don't know if it was somebody big or somebody small on it. Andrew Bieber. I wonder if he's related to Justin. Probably
you
not.
never know. It's a small world.
Also, Bieber's not a very common name. So he had started with Dream Trap with these guys. Then he did Shakma. And then he did King's Ransom. Even Angels Fall. What's that? It's a TV movie starring Morgan Fairchild. Sorry,
Oh, wow.
a different Morgan. Ingle Engelbert Humperdinck is in it as
Holy
well.
shit, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Oh, oh, Thomas Calabrese directed it. What did he do? That name sounds so familiar. It's not. He wasn't an actor, was he? No.
That
So
I
I'm
don't know.
I'm thinking because what was the name of the guy from Melrose Place? Thomas, whatever. Um, Thomas Calabro. So different name altogether. That's what I was thinking of when I heard it. I was like, oh, cool. Um, so he also, let's see, did the camera work for, cinematography for that Smooth Operator movie, you know?
Of course.
Now I think you want to see it,
I kind of do.
you know? It seems like he works with this guy a lot. Um, it says he did the bonus features for the night that brings Charlie, but he didn't do the cinematography for it. Um, but yeah, he had done Neon Tiki Tribe series. I don't know. So how are you a cinematographer for like a it looks like a cartoon.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe it wasn't a cartoon, but it looked like one. Um, is the picture was of one. And so the music was done. I liked the music in it.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I actually really did like the music. It was kind of creepy at times. They did
Yeah.
a good job. It's David Williams. He seems to be have he's still working. What in the F? He did compose the music for something called Hunter's Laptop, Requiem for Ukraine. That feels like it's a
Interesting.
documentary, but like it's
Yeah.
that's weird. He did the cinematography for a horror film called The Womb, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, he was the cinematographer for Assassin's Fury. That's David A. Pryor's last film. It hasn't come out yet or nothing. I think they're still
Oh, wow.
producers are still working on it. But like David C. Pryor died a long time ago, so I don't a while ago, not a long time, but a while ago, like over 10 years. So I'm wondering what um hmm. Ice Castles, Ballin, the TV show or TV movie. Is that the TV show? Do they okay? Paul Wesley is in it from Vampire Diaries.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Wishmaster 2. He did the
Oh, shit.
cinematography for that.
It's a small
Oh,
world.
he also did the cinematography for Phantoms. No, the
That's,
music. These are
that's,
music, not cinematography. Music.
oh,
Music
yeah.
for Phantoms. Music for the
That's a
Prophecy 2.
coincidence.
What?
That's a coincidence.
The Prophecy number 1.
Shit.
Yeah, David C. Williams. American Yakuza. That's the name sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar to me, too.
Okay. Dang, he's done some
He's doing
good
a lot of
movies.
shit.
Yeah, The Drive, that's a great movie with Mark Dacascos. Also one of my favorite directors. Or not directors, actors. Martial artists. Critters
Yeah.
3. Shit.
Critters. Ah, I love critters.
Yeah. Um yeah, but he got his well, I mean, he had done a bunch of stuff before Shakma, and then he worked with these guys again on The Night Brings Charlie and the other things. So damn, they it feels like they use a lot of the same people for a lot of the same.
I love
I mean,
seeing that. People working together again
well,
like
then you
that.
must love the Mark Polonia movies.
Of course.
It's like the same people every single time. Like,
I know. It's comical. I love it.
it's like, all right, well, they're all friends who are like, hey, let's make a movie this weekend.
Exactly. Hey, yeah, what are
I
you
actually,
doing? Let's just film it.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Like, I love that. I love when people just pick up a camera and just start making movies.
It's the
Um,
best.
yeah, you know, the thing with indie film cafes, we will tell you if it's not good, like if we don't think it's good, but
Yeah.
we still love it. We still
Exactly.
support, and we still, I mean, we'll watch and we'll buy and we'll support these guys, but we'll just be like, that was like, and I love Mark Polonia, but my only issue lately is that I feel like he's phoning it in a lot of times these days. Like
Yeah,
he
unfortunately.
doesn't have his heart into it as much as I feel like he should.
No, not like.
And I don't know what would spark him to get back into that, but
I
I
don't know.
think I think a lot of it really did have to do with the fact that he just doesn't have his brother around to help him,
I think so too.
to do it. And
Just,
I think John uh was his like rock, and
yeah.
stuff. So him doing it now, but then Jeff Kirkendall is doing a lot of work with him and stuff. So
Yep.
I love
Tim
that.
Hatch.
Tim Hatch, all of them, but like Jeff's
But
actually
Jeff
co-directing,
actually like yeah helps direct and stuff.
and stuff. So I think he's picking up some of the slack and doing some stuff. So I love
Yeah.
seeing it, and so I love that, and I love to go back to this. This was it seemed like one of the beginnings of people just continuing to work together and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Which is great to see.
yeah, I would love to work with Christopher Atkins. He did a few Asylum movies, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Um,
No, I did.
I think if I'm correct, he was in something like I want to say something from the time of like um there was
Sharknado.
no well I think before Sharknado there were the mockbusters, and there was one that was like Jurassic Park, where they bring it's like, oh, 10,000 or 100,000 BC, or 100 million BC or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah, 1 million
And
BC, I think, or
1
something.
million BC, something like that.
Something
I
like that.
I thought he was in that, but I could be wrong. Yep, he was in 100 million BC. 100 million BC.
That's funny. Yeah.
And it was him and Michael Gross and Greg Evigan were all great actors who I, Griff First was lucky to get all of them, in the
Yeah.
movie. So that movie was also on Red Letter Media, and Jack Quaid picked it, you know, which is so cool to see. Um, Jack Jack Quaid. Are you a fan of Jack Quaid?
I'm not really familiar. I've never really watched Red Letter Media or anything.
Well, he was in the Scream like 5. He was the the bad guy in Scream. I guess I could say it now. It's been out for long enough.
Okay, well, I've seen Scream 5, so I
Oh Jesus,
remember.
thank God you did, because then I just
Well, yeah,
ruined.
I've seen all the Scream movies, so
But he was the bad guy. He
yeah.
was the boyfriend or whatever, and he's actually Dennis Quaid's son. So
Okay, well, yeah, that
you know,
makes sense. But
yeah, and I love he's what John Ward and I talk about all the time is that he's going to be in the new movie Companion that's out
oh
coming
yeah,
out
that
coming out
looks great.
right. Yeah, he's the main guy in
It's
that.
okay.
And so I definitely want to, like, I want his career to blow up even bigger, because like right after Scream 5 and his name blew up, he went on Red Letter Media just because
Yeah,
he likes the show. I don't think he gets
yeah,
paid anything. It's him and like Macaulay Culkin and all these people just come
yeah. That's
by.
awesome.
Yeah, they just stop by and hang out, watch movies and review them, and I'm like, I mean, the closest we've had of that is like having like Lauren Parkinson or something on our show, and reviewing movies with us. Tina Kraus, people like that who we love having, but we haven't had them in this studio. We've had like Kate Phoenix in the studio, and we've had Angel Bradford, and stuff like that. But like,
That's
I would love
cool.
to get like I would love to get like Joe Estevez in our studio and review a movie with them, you know.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's where we're hoping Indie Film Cafe will go at some point. It hasn't happened yet exactly, but like, you know, hopefully soon. We'll see. You know, we'll see what
Exactly.
happens. Um, but yeah. So let's see. So yeah, so Shakma is the name of the baboon that's just running around terrorizing everybody. What do you think of
All
that
around the
name?
building.
Like, if you had just seen that name, would you be interested in watching it based on hearing Shakma?
The poster, yeah, because you realize it's a baboon, but if you just tell me Shakma, I would need to know more because the title doesn't give too much away. Well, if you just told me the title,
You know
but if
that
you tell me
I'm surprised he
plot,
wasn't. What was that? What was that, Madeline?
I just said like if you just told me the title Shakma, I wouldn't know what it was. But if you see the poster or synopsis, then yeah, I would be definitely be interested. Like I said,
Especially
I saw the poster, when I was looking through Tubi and found the movie, and I was like, this looks familiar. I've definitely heard of this, but I didn't realize it just from the title alone.
and you're like, a baboon on the cover. I'm down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think because I did tell you, like, I mentioned it. We're gonna watch Shakma, and you're like, I think I've heard of it, but
Yeah,
and
yeah, it
then
sort of sounded familiar, but not. And then, that sparks your memory.
especially once you see the poster, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
like I
don't know.
definitely remember this in a video store or something.
It looks like something that would be very big in the video store. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been a hit. I don't know. I did you ever work at one?
Yeah, my first job 2007 to 2009 was in a video store. Video
Jeez,
World.
that's like the end of the video store era.
I know it was. When I was
God,
in
I'm
film
sorry.
school and moved away, it shut down not long after I moved away.
We did you work at a Blockbuster or like a mom and
It was
pop?
called Video World. It was like a local chain, but it was already starting to die by the time I worked there. But yeah,
Um, I worked for one that originally was called Video Update, and then Video Update went under itself, but the owners bought it out, right? So it was like the mother and son bought it out, and they had chains all over Virginia,
yeah,
the like more of like around my area and around that whatever. So it's really funny because I think my friend Joe, have you met Joe Turk? Have you been on a show with him yet?
I do
Okay.
not believe so.
So Joe and I talk all the time about, and he worked at a movie scene, I think, and then he also worked at a Blockbuster, and whatnot, I believe. And I loved working there. It was my first, it was my second job, maybe, because like my first was working under the table at a restaurant, Italian restaurant, and everything. And everybody there was gay except me and my friend. And we were like, oh, like, my friend looks over and goes, "That's Brad. He's gay." And I was like, "All right."
Okay.
Like, and I didn't care. Like, like whatever. And so then I would hear them talking about, their dates or whatever and all these other things. And I was like they were older than me. I was like the little kid that's there washing dishes and shit. It's like I think I was in middle school going into high school. Like that's how young I was or whatever
Yeah,
and stuff. And I was like, I got a job. Didn't last very long. But I wasn't a very good dishwasher. It's like that. I didn't
dishwasher.
like it. I didn't like it. It's just boring to
Who
me.
does?
Like I don't like. I mean, I like. Actually, I don't mind washing and putting away the dishes I have now, but it's just like simple. You put them in the fucking thing, and then
Yeah,
put the thing in there, and then just set it up there and whatever. And then you're done with yours. I don't like doing this. I don't like washing dishes during Thanksgiving, but I do it because I didn't cook
you have
anything.
to.
Yeah, it's just part of the thing of like if you
Yeah,
didn't cook, you clean. That's just fair. Unless you're a guest, you know, and whatnot, then you don't do. Hopefully, you don't do anything. Hopefully, people don't make you
exactly.
do shit if you're a guest. That's mean. Like fucked up shit. Like I would never do that to somebody.
I
You
want
know,
neither.
yeah, I wouldn't want them to do that to me. But if they said, "Hey, can you help me with this?" I'd say yes in a second.
Exactly.
But I still wouldn't have wanted them to. It's just a matter of like, you got to be polite. Um, Anyway, I was going on this long tangent, but I did work at a video store, and I would see all these amazing horror films. But back then, I really did not watch that many. You know,
Oh,
I
really?
was still a comedy guy. Like I liked comedy films more so than anything else. I like comedy or action, so I'd be in those two sections, you know. And I'm kind of upset at myself because I'm like, there's so many good films I could have watched back then that I wasted on other shit that I probably didn't need to watch, you
But now
know.
you're making up for it.
I am, and that's another reason why I picked this show because then I can find movies like Shakma, which I've never heard of, you know, before Red Letter Media said something about them, and I was just like, you know, this could be good, this could suck, you know, because I thought it was gonna suck. I thought it was gonna be a bad movie. It's on Red Letter Media. It's got to be a bad movie, right?
Yeah,
And
but
I
it's
was
so
like,
much fun.
I thought it was actually pretty good. I don't know. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It might have like cheesy moments to it. Um,
The whole Dungeons and Dragons thing and him playing on a computer and him using a walkie-talkie is kind of a cheesy thing. And every time they said Game Master, all I heard was Gay Master. I was like,
I did not hear that. And I remember you
you
saying
can
that
see
last
what
night.
I'm thinking, I guess.
I don't know, like it was funny, but I never heard that.
It was
I
interest. It was an interesting premise, like that they were playing this game. I don't know.
well, and movies about Dungeons and Dragons really weren't that big of a hit, you know.
No,
Uh we did do we just came out so I can mention it. We reviewed a movie called Night Chills on Indie Film Cafe. I don't know if you ever watched that movie,
no, I haven't
but
seen it.
it's about a group of role playing people who go and they find and they unleash a night, you know, a dark night that comes after them or whatever, you know. And didn't Tom Hanks was in a Dungeons and Dragons type movie or something, you know. So
Wow.
there's been a few of them. Um,
Yeah.
but this one was weird because I don't, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they said the name. They just
No,
sort of
I
said
didn't
the
think they
game.
did because I wouldn't have made that connection that that's what they were doing because I'm not familiar.
Yeah, if that person hadn't said they played Dungeons and Dragons, I don't think I would have picked that up either,
Yeah,
you know. But I don't know. It was a fun flick. I enjoyed it.
definitely.
Um, I would highly recommend it for people who A love like 90s horror and B who just enjoy, you know, campy uh creatures run amok kind of movies, you know.
The
And
best.
you're right, it's a slasher film, but with a baboon.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it.
I would have loved it
Got
because
the,
there's
the slasher tropes.
it
Like,
would have been
oh,
so great because he got attacked by, you know, like he got hit with the knife and everything. And then you see the knife is over on the floor. It would have been great if the baboon picked it up. Shakma picked up the knife. I was like,
it was
but I
great.
got
Yeah,
now. Like that would have been scary. You know, I would have been like, oh
I
God,
know.
you know, but he didn't. He just kept wanting to kick him and scratch him and
Run around, jumping.
jumping up and down, doing like, you know, ninjutsu and shit. It
Yeah,
was crazy. But you know, and I loved how she ran into they mentioned this on Red Letter Media, I think that was hilarious. But she ran into the stall where he could slide under, no problem, and she's
exactly.
trapped. Like
Not the
that
smartest in the world.
I think she thought she could get up through the, you know, window before the thing got under
Yeah,
there. But nope, he pulled
too
her and
quick.
that was cool. Like he pulled her down and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a really cool scene. Cool kill.
Yeah, sad that she died, but you know,
Yeah,
it. I expected that could happen, but I get really frustrated because when I see like romance happening, they're like kissing and it looks like something's gonna bloom, and then the character dies. It's usually
that's not
toward the
fun.
end of the movie, you know, like the last 20 minutes or
Yeah,
something, to give the person like this, like, you know, actually, no, it was kind of perfect place for it because there was there's a thing and there's beats in stories and stuff. And one of the beats is at the end of the Save the Cat beats. I don't know if you've heard of those or whatever, but there's like a certain group of ways to write, you know? And there's this thing called like all is lost. And that's when something tragic happens and the person doesn't think they're going to make it or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that was it. I think that moment was sort of his all is lost, but it was too, like, it's too late. Like, it should have happened or too early. It should have happened closer to the 20-minute mark because 20 minutes is the last act, is when. So I think that, I guess, the all is lost is when that other girl's dead, you
Hmm.
know, which, I mean, it was so weird. They had those two girls and both liked him, you know. But, you know, I didn't write it. So, I mean,
No.
and that writer only wrote one movie. I don't know why he never wrote anything else.
I
Like,
know.
he wasn't happy with this. Like, that's another thing is when you write a film, you know, you're putting it in the director and producer's hands, you know, like what comes out is probably not going to be what you wrote, you know,
Exactly.
or at least what's
Very
in your
rarely.
visioned in your head, you know. But I love that. Like, I love writing for other people. Like, if I could really make that a career for a while, I'll do that because, you know, because then I write it, and then my main thing is giving it up to the next person, and it's out of my control at times, and I'm like, you
I
know,
get that. But I like to write and do my own thing.
I get that too. I do that too. Like, if it's
Sometimes I
really
wouldn't mind.
personal to me, that's one
Yeah.
thing. But a lot of times I write things I'm not personally connected to it. You know, I
Yeah.
might put one or two things that's personally connected because I remember hearing uh Quentin Tarantino talk about that once, that, you know, as a writer you should always put something personal into it.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
because, you know, lets it stand out to yourself. Like, he used this example as like True Romance. He put the triple. You ever seen True Romance?
Yeah.
And so, you know, where Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette meet are at
Yeah.
the triple Street Fighter feature, you know, and everything. Well, a bunch of Quentin's friends who love that movie came by and were like, "Oh man, triple feature, blah blah blah," and they're like, you know, no, this is for a set for a movie." And they looked over and they go, "Man, this must be Quentin's movie." So they knew
That's fun.
exactly, you know,
That's funny.
they knew that they knew that, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. You put things in there that people go, and he was like, you should always put something that makes you a little bit embarrassed. Like, they read this, they're gonna know a little bit too much about me, you know. And I think literally, if you look at every one of Tarantino's movies, there is something there that, you know, especially Feet, that he, you know, is very personal to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We
Tarantino. That's just easy. I bet I'm never gonna meet the guy, so, you know. However, if I do meet you, man, I guarantee you're not listening to my podcast, you know.
have.
So, except I
You're
do
not
have
the
a
only one who says that about him, so
what, like you say that?
I
Or
think anyone does.
I think everybody it's known. It's a very known trope of
Exactly.
his. Like, you know, if you didn't know this, you uh so
Live
anyhow,
under.
well, I think that's it. I mean, there wasn't much else to talk about, right?
No?
Yeah, so we
Fun
had a good
movie,
time. It
fun
was,
Tuesday.
people should check it out, watch it, give us their review. You know, let
Definitely.
us know if you thought it was fun. Um, I do real quick. I do like to look at what people are saying on Letterboxd, because some people might say things differently than us or think differently. You know, some people
Yeah.
may be into it, some people may not. Um, Man, it's got a lot of one stars. Fuck.
That's sad. I don't even
Yeah,
understand why.
I don't either. This is one of the more fun movies that we reviewed. Um, Monkey vs. Door the movie. Okay, that was the best. That was the best one. All right. How many times did that door shut and the monkey's like, "Rah!"
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay. I can see where that would annoy, you know, when this pissed off monkey is fucking shit up. It's pretty badass. But the setup of nerds playing D&D is next level lame. And who the hell decided this needed to be 100 minutes long? Nothing here speaks to a running time over 85 minutes.
I
Uh,
can agree with that. It could have been cut down, but otherwise,
Plus, I'm pretty sure even in the early 90's, the lack of emergency fire alarms would have been against building codes. All
yeah,
right. Now let's read a one that they loved it. So 4 stars, I think out of 5. Shakma,
yeah,
best name ever? Maybe. Probably the least known of the 80's. Whoops, it's wrong. 90's. Well, it's 1990, so it's
it's
very
on the
close
board.
to 80's. It looks like 80's.
Yeah,
So because every generation in the beginning of the generation is it's still left over from the last
yeah,
generation. So it still looks like the movies and stuff. Probably the least known killer primate movies, but also maybe the best. This is ridiculous trash and it is lovely. A group of friends lock themselves in a building to play a Dungeons and Dragons style game with Professor Roddy McDowell, only to discover a crazed baboon is locked in with them. Now, that alone is enough to sell me, but there's the fact that the main character is played by Christopher Atkins, and just like in most 80's gabies, 80's gabies, I had the most insane crush on him. So it's gay guy that's writing this. Like him in the Blue Lagoon was what made me realize I was a big old loud and proud dick hungry mo. Wow. All right. I'm
that
just
got
reading what
interesting quick.
yeah. All right. So obviously I'm hoping that this doesn't this is my first time reading this. So I have no idea. So obviously I was willing to watch him in this horror movie and honestly, I don't know how I managed to never get around to this before. Um Seeing as how a kid me rewound the lagoon nude scenes until the tape wore the fuck out. Anyway, the beautiful man aside, this movie is surprisingly fun and gory. It was also a nice mean streak and some unexpected twists and who gets killed. I think he's talking about the girl that died quickly.
Yeah,
All around fun times that just added to my Amazon cart. If Atkins got naked, that would be a 5-star classic. But he doesn't. So 4 stars will have to do for my petty ass that grades everything on a male nudity curve. Shakma, say it out loud with me. It's fun. Shakma. So,
okay.
all right. So those were fun. There's a few other you guys can check out Letterbox. I love Letterbox. Uh
Letterboxd.
yeah, I don't put huge reviews in my stuff. They're pretty quick, but they're never like this movie sucked. Moved on.
No, me neither. Although I
They're
should
always
review on there more, but
I like it now because then I can keep a track of what I watch and stuff.
yeah,
So I'll probably do a review of Shakma today, just so I can say, look back later at the end of the year and say, oh, I watched that movie,
yeah,
yeah, and whatnot. I don't know if I'll do some people do like top 10 movies that they watched that year or whatever, their favorite movies
yeah.
that they watched. And I don't know if I do that because I'm planning to watch a lot, you know. So I don't last one I did, I think I did like 160 something movies last year. And I
I
want
never
to do way more than that. And I think I did do more than that. I just didn't you know,
keep
jot
track.
those down, keep track. So I probably
Yeah,
did over 200 last year. Um, but we'll see. So Madeline, you're up next. Do you have an idea what you want to do yet? Do you want to tell people so they can watch it
yeah.
first or?
We're gonna do Phantoms, right?
Yes, that's right. We're going to do
Which
Phantom.
is funny because we were talking about earlier. Same guy did the music, so
Yeah.
I had picked this even before I knew that. So
And I know
funny
you also
coincidence.
picked another movie that we talked
Yes,
about on
yes.
this already, but we're going to do that later. I'm
Oh
not going to
yeah,
mention what it
I
is.
had to think of what it was,
You're
but
like,
yeah,
yeah,
we'll do that one
yeah.
later. But we'll do Phantoms first. I haven't seen it in years. I remember watching it on Showtime, and we'll see if it's as good as I
Well,
remember.
I
So
it's
I
been
think
a
that's
long
one
time
no
since
one
I
really talked
saw it.
about.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it since it first came out on VHS and I watched it.
Yeah,
But I always hear that Ben Affleck was the bomb in it. So,
yeah.
that's the Big J and Silent Bob line. Uh and I love that Ben Affleck was cool about it and you know, because
Oh
I
yeah,
don't I think he was probably proud of that movie, you know, even though it didn't do well. It was a bomb. you know. But I think it was a pretty big bomb from what I heard. It was no Armageddon. for
No.
Ben Affleck. So, but yeah, I can't wait to see it. I think it's gonna
Yeah,
be a lot of fun to rewatch. I
definitely.
probably won't remember anything. All I
I
remember is that Dean
prefer.
Koontz wrote it,
Yep. Yeah, I remember little bits and pieces, but it's been a really long time, so I'm excited to revisit it as
and I
well.
remember the cover because it was those cheesy,
Yeah,
uh, whatever, floating heads cover. I fucking hate that
yeah.
shit.
Pretty much everything after Scream was like the same type of style, especially from Dimension Films,
Or
who I think put that out.
Dakota did that with like Final Stab or whatever, and Threat of the
Yeah, yeah.
Hood and all these other movies. So, that was a 2000s late 90s, early 2000s trope,
I'm glad that fad died, at least for now.
for now. Who knows? Somebody will bring it back because they love it,
Exactly.
and shit. And then people will start doing that again. And it'll be another trend again. Just like
Of course.
honestly, I think found footage is a trend. It's an
Yeah.
annoying one to me. I freaking hate found footage films.
A
But
trend I'm not a fan of, as everyone probably knows who knows me. So, hey, whatever.
you are or not?
No, I
Okay.
generally don't enjoy found footage much. It
What
depends on the movie, but definitely not my favorite style. If I
what
see a found footage movie, it turns me off.
well, in fact, for the longest time that's why I hated Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Is I didn't like them and tried watching Paranormal Activity and I hated it. Like couldn't finish it. I was watching with a friend and I was like, let's turn this off. I can't
Yeah,
can't
I
get into it.
understand.
And then John Ward wanted to do it for Horror Film Lovers Mainstream Mondays, and stuff. And I was like, don't really want to, but I feel like I have to as a horror filmmaker, you know?
Yeah,
Like I have to
for
be
sure.
well aware of everything. And so that's why I've been watching the Saw movies, which another trope and torture porn I'm not a big fan of. Though it's not technically torture porn, that's more like hostile, but you
Y-
know, people call it that, I guess.
Yeah,
But anyway, I prefer movies like this, creature features, and
oh, so
you
do
know,
I.
Phantoms is up that kind of alley and everything. So I am really excited. So everybody, tune in next month for a brand new episode. Not sure we may be switching days and dates because I think we sort of did we do that? I think we did that a little off today. Like this was not originally planned, and then I said, "Hey, can you do this date?" You're like, "Sure,"
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I need something to fill on that Friday. So supposed to be another podcast that was coming out and just didn't work out. So I was like, "Oh well, I'll see if Maddie will do it," and you did. So perfect.
yeah.
So everybody else, hope you guys enjoyed this. Go check out Shakma on Tubi. Very
Oh
simple,
yeah,
easy movie to watch. It's an hour and 41 minutes, but the time goes by pretty quickly.
yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
fun.
feel like, to me, it didn't feel like that.
No,
Um,
not at all.
but let us know what your thoughts are. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with Red Letter Media? That's a pretty bad movie. I think it was pretty good. So, all right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye, Maddie.
Bye.